Life is a journey. It's a tapestry woven with threads of joy and sorrow, triumph and trial. We experience the warmth of the sun on our skin and the sting of tears on our cheeks. These trials, though painful, are not without purpose. They are the refiner's fire, burning away impurities and revealing the strength and resilience within us. Just as gold is purified in the heat of the furnace, our faith is tested and strengthened in the midst of adversity. We learn to rely not on our own understanding but on the unwavering faithfulness of God. In those moments when the ground seems to shift beneath our feet, we discover the depth of His love and the power of His grace. The storms of life may rage around us, but we can find peace in knowing that God is with us. He is our refuge and our strength, a very present help in times of trouble. He doesn't promise a life free from hardship, but He does promise to walk with us every step of the way. In the book of James, we find words of comfort and guidance for navigating life's inevitable challenges. James chapter 1 verse 5 offers a beacon of hope. If any of you lacks wisdom, you should ask God, who gives generously to all without finding fault, and it will be given to you. This verse is more than just a comforting thought. It is a promise from the Almighty God, the Creator of the universe, to His children. He doesn't offer a limited supply of wisdom, doling it out sparingly. No, He gives generously, abundantly to all who ask. This wisdom is not merely intellectual knowledge, it is the ability to see our circumstances through the lens of God's love and to make choices that align with His will. It's the discernment to choose the path that leads to peace, even when the way forward seems unclear. Maria stared at the job offer, her heart pounding in her chest. It was her dream job, the one she'd been working towards for years. Yet, a knot of unease tightened in her stomach. Accepting the position would require her to relocate, uprooting her family and leaving behind the community that had become her second home. Torn between ambition and loyalty, Maria felt paralyzed by indecision. She knew she couldn't make this decision on her own. So, she did what she always did when faced with uncertainty. She turned to God in prayer. With tears streaming down her face, she poured out her heart, surrendering her desires and asking for wisdom to guide her steps. Days turned into weeks, and still, the answer eluded her. But Maria continued to pray, seeking His will above her own. Then, one evening, as she was reading her Bible, a verse jumped out at her. "Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways submit to Him, and He will make your paths straight." It was as if a weight had been lifted from her shoulders. Maria realized that true wisdom wasn't about choosing the right path, but about trusting God to lead her, even when the way seemed unclear. With newfound peace, she declined the job offer, knowing that God had a different plan for her life. David slumped over his textbooks, a wave of despair washing over him. He had always excelled academically, but this semester, his grades had plummeted. No matter how hard he studied, the concepts seemed to elude him. He felt lost and discouraged, his confidence shaken to its core. One afternoon, as David was venting to his grandfather, a wise and devout man, he shared his struggles and his growing sense of inadequacy. His grandfather listened patiently, his eyes filled with compassion. When David finished speaking, his grandfather placed a hand on his shoulder and said, "David, my boy, sometimes the greatest lessons are learned not through success, but through struggle. Remember, God's grace is sufficient for you and His power is made perfect in weakness." Inspired by his grandfather's words, David decided to approach his academic challenges with a renewed perspective. He recognized that his struggles didn't diminish his worth or define his future. Instead of succumbing to self-doubt, he resolved to persevere, seeking help when needed and trusting that God would equip him to overcome this obstacle. He began attending study groups, meeting with his professors for extra help, and dedicating extra time to mastering difficult concepts. To his surprise, he discovered a hidden strength within himself, a resilience he didn't know he possessed. He learned that true success wasn't about achieving perfect grades, but about embracing the journey, with all its twists and turns.